My goodness, don't you remember when you went first to school? You went to kindergarten. And in kindergarten, the idea was to push along so that you could get into first grade, and then push along so that you could get into second grade, third grade, so on, going up and up. And then you went to high school, and this was a great transition in life. And now the pressure is being put on. You must get ahead. You must go up the grades and finally be good enough to get to college. And then when you get to college, you're still going step by step up to the great moment in which you're ready to go out into the world. And then when you get out into this famous world comes the struggle for success in profession or business. And again, there seems to be a ladder before you, something for which you're reaching all the time. And then, suddenly, when you're about 40 or 45 years old in the middle of life, you wake up one day and say, huh? I've arrived. And by Jove, I feel pretty much the same as I've always felt. In fact, I'm not so sure that I don't feel a little bit cheated. Because you see, you were fooled. You were always living for somewhere where you aren't. And while, as I said, it is of tremendous use for us to be able to look ahead in this way and to plan, there is no use planning for a future, which when you get to it and it becomes a present, you won't be there. You'll be living in some other future which hasn't yet arrived. And so in this way, one is never able actually to inherit and enjoy the fruits of one's action. You can't live at all unless you can live fully now.
This is Chris. Welcome to the world's first GYATT Fortnite podcast, where the real patch notes are the friends we unfriended along the way. Technically, someone else might already have a Fortnite podcast, but in the spirit of Fortnite, I could go outside. But have you ever experienced personal growth in a 1v1 in Fortnite? It's the best therapy ever. You know, I should touch grass, but it's hard when the slap juice keeps me sprinting through my feelings. Welcome to the only podcast where a missed pump shot is treated with the same seriousness as a bad breakup. You know, it could get like that sometimes. I play Fortnite for fun, but really, I'm trying to outrun the guilt of leaving my teammate knocked behind a tree. I'm sorry, I keep trying. And if you're ready, let's dive in. Before moving on, I just want to let our listeners know that we're currently trying to build our following on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Small, independent podcasts like this one need all the support we can get to survive. Sharing, liking, commenting on socials, and reposting on TikTok and X, and following on social media is greatly appreciated and helps keep this afloat during turbulent times. Thank you. You ever look at the sky in Fortnite and wonder, is that the Death Star or just my motivation exploding? Because same. This season is about to go full light speed into Star Wars madness. And I'm here for it. Kind of. Because right now, I'm more distracted by something far more dangerous than the dark side. Grand Theft Auto 6. That's the asteroid no one's talking about. Not Darth Vader, not lightsabers, not Palpatine showing up in the item shop again like your problematic ex. No, it's the fact that later this year, entire squads are going to disappear like they rage quit real life. And that's the threat. Well, the real threat to Fortnite's sovereignty. A spiritual meteor of distraction, a temptation wrapped in chaos. I'm not saying I won't play it. I'm just saying Epic better drop Midas doing donuts in a land speeder, or we're going to lose half the lobby by winter. But not me. I'm staying on this battle bus. Why? Because Fortnite isn't just a game. It's a mirror. And right now, that mirror is dressed up like a stylish assassin rabbit holding hands with a fox. The fox and rabbit bundle in the item shop right now is everything. Absolutely fashion, friendship, and fear-based performance anxiety wrapped in one glorious aesthetic. Duos who match together, clutch together. And if you don't have a partner rocking the other half of this set, I'm sorry, but you're solo both in-game and emotionally. And let's talk about style, because the Fox and Rabbit bundle, duo core is alive and well. These skins don't say, we're here to win. They say, we're here to win while looking borderline illegal. And if you and your partner aren't rocking synchronized emotes in these fits, are you even healing each other emotionally? So, yes, we'll touch on the new season. We'll side-eye the Death Star. But first, let's just have a moment, a GYATT Fortnite podcast moment. A moment for fashion, fear, loyalty, and why Fortnite still might be the most honest game in the world. You've been listening to the GYATT Fortnite podcast, the only show where we dare to question everything, even the ride that brought us here. Welcome to today's episode. The battle bus is a lie. Today, I'm inviting you to jump out of more than just a flying blue bus. I'm asking you to jump out of an illusion, because we've all been sold this idea that we choose where we land, that we're in control of how the match unfolds, that if we just plan perfectly enough, we'll win. But the deeper truth is, sometimes you were already falling long enough, long before you even opened your glider. Sometimes you were already out of control before you ever touched the ground. And maybe that's not a glitch. Maybe that's the point. Today, we're not just talking about Fortnite. We're talking about the invisible forces that shape everything, from the first second of the match to the last. So stay locked in. Every match begins this way, the same way practically. You hover over the map, battle bus engine rumbling in your ears, A world of choices stretched beneath you like a living painting. There's a moment right before you jump where it feels like you're a god. You scan for landmarks. You plot your trajectory. You convince yourself you're in control. I'm landing at Shady Eyes Club. I'm hitting the arcade for some fast loot. And then I'm going to rotate to deadlifts for shields. Easy win, right? Wrong. Because Fortnite, just like life, it has other plans.
Anyway.
The bus route curves in a weird way. You get a lag spike on your internet connection. You glance away for 1 second, and now suddenly, boom, you're hovering over the Shady Eyes Club with a crowd of 15 sweaty psychos. You didn't choose that. It chose you. And here's the thing. Most people panic when their plan collapses. They start free-falling in more ways than one. Mental freefall, emotional freefall. They think, this isn't the way it's supposed to go. And in that little heartbreak, they throw the whole match away. But what if you're not supposed to resist it? What if, when life rips up your strategy mid-drop, you're supposed to say, okay, cool. Let's see what this storyline looks like. Because some of the best wins start with the worst landings. Some of the best moments happen when you're forced somewhere you didn't pick, somewhere you didn't know you needed to be. You hit jump, you soar, you glide. You think you're orchestrating your future, and then someone cuts you off midair. Someone beats you to the gun. The chest you counted on, it's not there. It doesn't spawn. A random sniper tags you from a rooftop you didn't even know existed. And suddenly, you're scrambling. You're panicking. You're realizing that all that planning didn't protect you from the truth. The battle bus was never yours to steer. You were already part of the chaos before you even picked a spot on the map. The match was always bigger than your plan, bigger than your drop, bigger than you. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can actually start playing. If you're lucky, your first bad landing sends you somewhere strange. Not a named POI, not a sweaty hot drop. Somewhere forgotten, somewhere random. A cracked, open gas station with a single lonely vending machine. An abandoned bus stop tucked between two cliffs. A mossy shack with nothing but a gray SMG and shattered dreams. I call it the land of lost drops. And it's sacred. You know it. You've been there. It's the cluster of forgotten gas stations. It's the abandoned pizza parlors. It's that random zip line between two cliffs with a chest that might be there or might just laugh at you. You land there when the plan falls apart, when you miss your mark, when the trio lasers you out of the sky and you panic glide sideways like a scared pigeon. And here's the secret nobody tells you. Out there, away from the sweaty hotspots, away from the try-hard tilted wannabes, away from the over-strategized POIs, you begin to rediscover the game. You scavenge. You survive. You become a creature of pure instinct. Again. It's not about spawn rates or rotations or optimal loop paths. It's about the simple, stubborn act of staying alive. Because when you land somewhere you didn't plan to be, when your grand strategy collapses into pure survival, you meet a version of yourself you wouldn't have otherwise. You become scrappy, instinctive, creative. You learn how to fight without perfect loot, how to rotate without clean maps, and how to survive when everything you thought you needed has been stripped away. Nobody brags about it. Nobody. Nobody posts their clutch 1v4 with a green pistol clips. I mean, but you should, because the land of lost drops doesn't just make players better, it makes them real. It rips away the fantasy of control and forces you to confront what Fortnite and life actually is: unpredictable, unpromised, and beautifully unfair. And maybe that's where the best matches live, not in the clean landings or the flawless rotations, but in the wild, sweaty scrambles you never meant to survive, but did anyway. But it's real, and it's where greatness hides. The land of lost drops humbles you, and if you let it, it makes you better. You ever notice how your mood lands before you do? If you drop in feeling mad, rushed, distracted, it's like Fortnite knows. Suddenly, your builds misplace themselves. Your shots whiff to the right, to the left, over their head, giving them a bit of a haircut. You jump when you should duck. You overthink. You panic edit into your own doom. But when you're calm, when you're flowing, when you're just there, something else happens. You move before you think. You know when someone's behind a wall. You feel when it's time to push or hold back. It's like Fortnite bends around you. And it makes me wonder, maybe the real inventory we should be checking isn't our loadout. Maybe it's our emotions. So before you drop next match, just forget if you're carrying a gold Havoc or a gray pistol. Forget if you have 3 shieldfish or 1. Ask yourself, what am I bringing into this match? Because Fortnite isn't just reading your ping. It's reading your energy. And sometimes you lost the match before you fired your first shot. The battle bus wants you to believe it's neutral. It's just a vehicle, just transportation, just a blue blimp with a catchy horn. But deep down, it's something else. It's an illusion. It lulls you into thinking you have time, choices, a sense of direction. But you don't control where the first storm circle spawns. You don't control when someone else rips the floor out from under you with a shockwave grenade. You don't control the vending machine that's out of stock. You don't control the random llama that spawns just out of your reach. You know those ones that like spawn on the mountains and you just gotta like slide down and see if you could even get there, like in like maybe like a 0 build match. Anyways, the battle bus lies because it frames the start of the match like it's the start of the story. But it's not. The story was already moving long before you jumped. Maybe the lobby was already filling with players that you just didn't stand a chance against. Maybe the server was already spinning a storm pattern you couldn't outbuild. Maybe your controller was already on the verge of disconnecting and you just didn't know it yet. And maybe, just maybe, that's not a bug. It's the core design. Because Fortnite, at its heart, isn't a test of plans. It's a test of reactions, of attitude, of resilience. The battle bus is just the first lie you have to see through. The real game starts the second your plans collapse. And you have to ask yourself, what now? Because what now is where your real power lives. Not in the perfect plan, not in the perfect loadout, not in the perfect drop, in the ability to meet the chaos on its own terms and not just survive, but thrive. When you stop seeing the battle bus as your friend and start seeing it as a trickster, everything changes. You stop judging your success by how well you executed the plan you had in your head. You start judging it by how well you navigated the chaos you were given. A perfect Fortnite match isn't the one where everything goes right. It's the one where things go wrong and you move anyway. It's the one where you get third-partied after a brutal 1v1 and still figure out how to pop a med mist behind a broken wall just long enough to clutch up. It's the one where you land in the absolute worst spot on the map and somehow chain together 2 eliminations off a busted tac shotgun and a dream. The best players aren't the ones who master the plan. They're the ones who master the pivot.
Anyway.
Fortnite doesn't want your plans. It wants your improvisation. It wants your weird solutions. It wants your stubborn hope. When the drop goes sideways, when the loot sucks, when your duo partner disconnects, when everything seems to be laughing in your face, that's when you have a real choice. Not where you land, but who you are once you hit the ground. And that's the difference between people who keep loving Fortnite and people who quit. It's not about the weapons. It's not about the updates. It's about the spirit they bring into the match. A spirit that says, you know what? Throw whatever you want at me. I'm still here. I'm still moving. I'm still dangerous. Because the battle bus isn't your starting point. It's your first test. So, next time you hover over the island, feeling like a god with a plan, remember, you're not the bus driver. You're just another player in the chaos. And that's not a reason to panic. That's a reason to celebrate. Because if everything's already out of your hands, then you're finally free to actually play. Land weird. Loot ugly. Fight dirty. Rotate sloppy. Adapt anyway. Build something out of nothing. And smile the whole messy way down. Don't pray for the perfect battle bus path. Don't beg for the perfect drop. And don't cry when life drags you sideways into a gas station dumpster. You know what you can do? Laugh. Because you're not here to script the match. You're here to survive it. Shape it. Flip it. You're here to make something beautiful out of a bad hand. You are not the bus driver. You're the one who makes the bus ride mean something. The drop didn't betray you. It chose you. It's asking, what can you do with this mess? So, because the battle bus is a lie, but you? No, you're the realest thing flying. And if you're listening to this podcast, if you're a part of the GYATT podcast, you already know the answer. You could do anything. That's right. You could do anything. And I'll see you in the next match. Bring a pickaxe. Bring a plan. And bring that beautiful chaos inside you. GYATT out. And this is Chris. thanks for tuning in to the world's first GYATT Fortnite podcast. Until next time, keep your shields up, your emotes ready, and remember, it's all about how you see the game. We have ourselves a very packed week. In less than 3 days, we get a new season. I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to throw in. Including, I don't know, any more collabs. Fortnite is a metaverse at this particular moment, so they're just throwing everything at us, including the battle bus. And the battle bus is a lie. These are all the random thoughts that go into my head throughout the week. And if you'd like to follow us on X, you can at GYATTFortCast. And if you're on TikTok, GYATTFortnite Throw me a message. And if you'd like to support me, maybe even buy me a coffee, you can on Cash App at $ChrisFreshier. Information is in the show notes. Shout out to everybody around the world that listens and rocks out with the GYATT Fortnite podcast. And I will see you and you, invisible friend, soon.